Today on the DML News Podcast, Donald J. Trump goes to war with ABC News. We're going to focus on that exclusively. Ryan and I are going to break it down, and we're going to rail, and I mean rail, into ABC. So get ready, because it's all unfiltered.
Dennis Michael Lynch gives you his word, and he will never let you down. He will always fight for America.
The only one who really puts his money where his mouth is Dennis Michael Lynch.
Dennis Michael Lynch, and I thank you for joining me today. Across from me is my son, Ryan, and he's going to be on the controls. My son, Denny, is finishing up all of the buy one, get one free orders at DML CBD. Today is the last day for the BOGO. I extended it because people asked me earlier in the month, please, it's tax month. I got to pay my taxes. Got to wait for my next check. Got to wait for my return. Okay. Sounds cool. Today is the last day. I will not have another one of these until the end of July. That's our prediction at best. Maybe it goes to August. We are moving out of the facility that we've had for 2 years because our lease is up. We have to go into a new facility. That always takes us time. Got to get new inventory, la-di-da-di-da-di. So please, if you are an existing customer, please do not be silly. If you call me or you reach out to us next week, next month, and say, I missed the BOGO, DML, please. I'm going to tell you there's nothing I could do. Nothing I could do. So you got to go to dmlcbd.com now, build the bridge, right? Because you got April, May, June, July. So you want to get yourself at least 3 to 4 months worth of stuff, if not a little bit more than that, to make the cushion. I can't tell you how many people said, DML, I haven't been able to sleep because I missed the last BOGO. All right. DML, my pain is back because I missed the last BOGO. My inflammation's going crazy. Okay. My anxiety is high. I missed the last BOGO. My skin issues are coming back because I missed the last BOGO. I get this constantly. In fact, I think people complain to me about how they missed a BOGO more than my wife tells me she loves me. That's how many times people say it. So if you are an existing customer, you know what I'm talking about. Go to dmlcbd.com right now. Get a buy one, get one free on anything on the website. If you are new to DMLCBD, you heard me say the kind of things that this stuff can do for people. So anxiety, you want to curb it. Pain, you want to diminish it. Skin issues, you want to get rid of it. Boosting the immune system. Can't tell you how many people. Have you ever heard me on here with a cold? Never, ever in 5 years. Been healthy as a horse on that end. And then, of course, the sleep. I had a woman yesterday watch the show, reach out to me and say, what product do you use for sleep and what do you use for pain? All the stuff on my website is great for all of it. But I'll point out what I use all the time. My whole family uses it. We all use it. So dmlcbd.com, buy one, get one free. Speaking of DMLCBD, last week we announced, and we're going to go over this here before we get into the politics, because believe me, we got an hour full of politics for you. But last week, Ryan and I told you we're going to start a weekly thing. It's sort of fun. It's a way of promoting the 47 Report newsletter. It's a way of promoting the DMLCBD brand. And it's a way to have some fun because this politics stuff can drag you down. And remember, life is about having fun. Life is precious. In fact, I just wound up getting a text message just about 15, 20 minutes ago from a very, very dear friend. That's as much as I'm going to say in describing it because I have not been given the permission to say who he is yet. But my friend, his son, has been diagnosed with cancer. Young man. Late 20s. That's not supposed to be the case. So remember, every single day you tell your family how much you love them, and you never take for granted what it is that you have. That said, just to add a little bit of fun here, what we're going to do, and if you're listening right now, I want you to pay attention because we're going to use today we're going to pick somebody from Facebook. Last week we picked people from Team DML. Here's what you're going to do. I want you right now to say, DML, I want a free bottle of DML CBD Miracle Me. So the mini that we have, the mini bottle that you rub on, it helps take away the pain. It helps take away the skin issues. I mean, I put it on my hands all the time. My hands are like babies. I have no calluses, no nothing. In fact, somebody asked me yesterday, "What happened to your hand, DML?" Now, I had punctured it with a plastic plant. I grabbed it and punctured right through my hand, and I've been putting Miracle Me on it for 3 days. You'd never know that anything was there. So what we do is Ryan and I will pick today at the end of the show. We're going to go back and we're going to pick 2 people. Ryan is going to play for one person. I'm going to play for the other person. And whoever wins the hole, and I'm talking about golf, that person gets a free bottle of Miracle Me Mini. Now, last week, we gave a little preview of Ryan's golf game and my golf game. So this way you get a sense for who it is you want to bet on. All right? So, 2 Team DML members were played for yesterday. We're going to show you the recap and who wins the free bottle. Ryan played for Team DML member Shirley Blanchard, and I played for team member Lori McLean. Now, before we play the video, Ryan, you tell the good people, who's a better golfer, you or me?
Depends.
Well, it depends on my ass. Well, it depends. What do you mean depends?
Depends on if I'm playing well or you're playing well.
Ryan, at your best, you are not a better golfer than me.
Pretty good.
Oh, my God. Okay. The winner. Now, here's the thing. If we go to a hole and there's a tie, we go to the next hole. It's a carryover, okay? So we're going to play the video here. It lasts for about 2 minutes, 20 seconds. And then after you watch this video, I want you to, on your Facebook Live, to say, I would like to be considered for next week. And I want you to tell me in there who you would want champion for you. Do you want Ryan playing for you or do you want me playing for you? All right? That's what your job is if you're on Facebook Live right now. One more time. You're going to watch this video. And then at the end, you're going to comment and say, I want a free Miracle Me bottle and I want Ryan to play for me or I want DML to play for me. All right? So let's play the video right now to see who won. Was it Ryan representing Shirley Blanchard or DML representing Lori McLean? 2 great Team DML members. Go. All right, I'm playing for Lori McLean, and you're playing for?
Shirley Blanchard.
Whoever wins the hole gets a free Miracle Me mini bottle. Youth before beauty.
Oh, he's playing a yellow ball, a female color. Here we go, for Shirley Blanchard. Oh, God. Not a good one. Oh, a little short of the green, but right there.
Ryan's going to need a miracle. Ryan playing a yellow ball. That was the first mistake. Little female-like.
Hitting out of what would be called a waste bunker. This may be an absolute waste of time. Ooh, if he gets a little bit of a bounce. Ryan's laying 2, Daddy's laying 1. Misses, and there's still meat on that bone. This is for 5. 5 in the hole. What do you want to say to Shirley Blanchard?
Sorry.
It missed. We go to the next hole to push.
Some people may claim that I did that on purpose. All right, here we go. Another par 3. It's a very short par 3, but it's brutally hard. This green is treacherous, like a roller coaster.
Oh, goodness. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, it's going to be out of par's reach. Ryan has a 1-stroke advantage right now, battling for Shirley Blanchard. Oh, it's a miss. Oh, oh my God. Sometimes it'd be better lucky than good. Get in the hole, baby. Get in the hole, baby. Come on. Ah.
Shirley Blanchard with the win. Sorry, Lori.
All right.
All right, Ryan. So obviously you won. Some people may say I gave up the first hole just to make it a little bit more of an interesting video for this week. So this way we could promote it the right way. Would you admit maybe that you should have lost that first hole?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think he did it on purpose. I think he messed up and then You made it seem like you did on purpose.
Well, we're never going to let you know what that was. So here's what happens. So Shirley McLean, I already have Shirley's address, so it's not like she needs to send me anything. So Shirley, we will be sending you a free bottle of Miracle Me Mini Body Pain Relief Oil, and we'll be sending to you this week. Now, that said, on Facebook Live, I've already seen the messages come in. Here is what you need to write. If you wrote it once already, write it again. You ready? You will say, my name is Joe Blow, and I want a free bottle of DML CBD Miracle Me Mini, and I want Ryan to play for me, or I want DML to play for me. And what we'll do at the end of the show, we'll go back, and Ryan will pick out who he's playing for, and I'll pick out who I'm playing for, and then next week, we'll do it again. All right, now that we had the fun out of the way, let's get to the real stuff, Ryan Lynch. What is the first video we have lined up? I don't know which way you lined them up.
I went backwards.
All right, well, listen, watching your golf game, no shocker there that you went backwards, but go ahead.
Oh, they're all over the place.
Just like your golf game. Go ahead.
Long argument.
Long argument.
I think it's like 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Okay, so what we're going to do, let me set this up. Yesterday was 100 days for Donald J. Trump. He had a great rally in Michigan. And then came the I don't know why he does this stuff for comment out of me, but he went on ABC News. Now, he had a total tool. And for those of you who are older and you don't know what I mean, tool is the new word for idiot. All right? Total tool. And Trump just destroyed this dude. This guy's got a chance to make a name for himself. And instead of having a good interview with President Trump, instead he goes to war with President Trump. Here is 2 minutes and 30 seconds of Trump going head to head with this total tool from ABC News. Take a listen.
But the court has ordered you to facilitate that.
I'm not the one making this decision. We have lawyers that don't want to do this.
But the buck stops in this office.
No. I follow the law. You want me to follow the law? If I were the president that just wanted to do anything, I'd probably keep him right where he is.
Supreme Court says what the law is.
Listen, I was elected to take care of a problem. It was a unforced error that was made by a very incompetent man, a man that turned out to be incompetent, that you always said was wonderful, great genius, right? And now you find out, all of the media now, they're saying what a mistake they made. A man who was grossly incompetent allowed us to have open borders where millions of people flowed in. I campaigned on that issue. I wouldn't say it was my number one issue, but it was pretty close.
Right up there.
I campaigned on that issue. I've done an amazing job. I have closed borders. He said you couldn't do it. You wouldn't be able to do it. It would never happen. Well, it happened, and it happened very quickly. Wait a minute. When we have criminals, murderers, criminals in this country, we have to get them out, and we're doing it.
By law.
And you'll pick out one man, but even the man that you picked out, he said he wasn't a member of a gang. And then they looked, and on his knuckles, he had MS-13.
There's a dispute over that.
Wait a minute. He had MS-13 on his knuckles tattooed.
Oh, he had some tattoos that are interpreted that way. But let's move on.
Wait a minute. Hey, Terry.
He did not have the letter MS-13.
It says MS-13.
That was Photoshopped. So let me
That was Photoshop, Terry. You can't do that. Hey, they're giving you the big break of a lifetime. You know, you're doing the interview. I picked you because, frankly, I never heard of you, but that's okay. I picked you, Terry. But you're not being very nice. He had MS-13 tattooed.
We'll agree to disagree. I want to move on to something else.
Terry, do you want me to show you the picture?
I saw the picture.
And you think it was Photoshop? Well,
here we go.
Don't Photoshop it. Go look at his hand. He had MS-13.
He did have tattoos that can be interpreted that way. I'm not an expert on them. I want to turn to Ukraine,
No,
sir.
Terry,
I want to get to Ukraine.
No. He had MS as clear as you can be, not interpreted. This is why people no longer believe the news, because
when
it's
he was
fake
photographed
news.
in El Salvador, they aren't there. But let's just go on. They aren't there when he's in El Salvador.
They weren't there, but they're there now, right?
No,
but
they're there in
now.
your picture.
Terry.
Ukraine, sir.
He's got MS-13 on his knuckles.
All right.
Okay?
We'll take a look.
It's you do such a disservice.
We'll take a look at
Why
that,
don't you
sir.
just say, yes, he does, and
Ryan, what was your take?
That man is definitely a tool, and the whole MS-13 on the fingers is just. I mean, what do you call that?
Well, I'll tell you,
We'll look into that.
yeah, we'll look into that. Look, here's the issue, okay? I've seen the photos of this piece of garbage, illegal alien, MS-13 accused member. And it does look as if it was photoshopped. I don't give a rat's ass if it was photoshopped. This is where the problem is with ABC News and the mainstream media. It's always the same issue. This guy, Terry from ABC News, is going to focus in on whether or not the tattoo on this guy's hand saying MS-13 is or is not authentic. Does it matter in the big scheme of things? We got an illegal alien that is here in the United States of America. He has no right to be here whatsoever. He's pulled over by police officers, and the police officers suspect that he is part of a human traffic ring, human smuggling ring. The cop makes the mistake of letting this guy go. Now, one of the reasons why I think the cop probably lets him go is because cops these days are encouraged not to do their job, especially when it comes to illegal aliens, because you go arresting an illegal alien, and then what you're going to hear is, why did you arrest him? Just let him back out. We don't need the trouble. Go get a U.S. citizen. Arrest the U.S. citizen. So cops are sitting there saying, I'm damned if I do and I'm damned if I don't. With that in mind, the wife of this piece of garbage files complaints that she's been beaten by him. He's got other tattoos on his body that reference the gang culture. If it looks like a snake and it hisses like a snake and it moves like a snake, it's probably a snake. And so the point of the matter is that Donald J. Trump took a very dangerous person who has no right to be in this country whatsoever. And even if his crimes of being in an MS-13 terrorist organization are incorrect, let's say, for instance, he wasn't. It's just a mistaken identity. Who gives a rat's ass? You've got an illegal alien who is in the country who beats his own wife. How long is it until he beats somebody else and maybe kills somebody else? We've got an illegal alien who is driving illegally and smuggling human beings. How long until it is that he becomes part of a gang if he's not in it already? This guy has no right to be in the United States of America. And what is ABC News going to do? ABC News is going to focus in on what matters the least amount to all people. Are you giving this man due process? Due process? He's due nothing. We owe him nothing. Then on top of that, Trump is right in saying to this fool on ABC News, who never, ever once got on television and said, the president of the United States, if that's what you want to call Joe Biden, I call him the fake, that Sleepy Joe was incompetent. Not a moment. Not a moment. Now, I don't think you got a chance to do we get that video where he goes back in the time? Do we have the ABC viewing?
A flashback?
The flashback? No. We don't. We had a flashback video. It was too long to get ready. This Terry has been one of the biggest liberal contributors to ABC News. Now, you know and I know he never called out Biden. He couldn't do that because he's not about real news. He's not about reporting the facts. He's about trying to sell a liberal ideology in the same way that his entire interview was not a, hey, President Trump, what have you done for the country? It's, hey, Mr. Trump, let's talk about all the things that we think you've done to destroy the country. This is what ABC News does. Now, Trump kind of slams him and kicks his ass. Hey, I've never heard of you before. That's why I said that you can do it. But I got to tell you something. I don't know if Trump is going through the White House like a bull in a china cabinet. I have no idea. Maybe he is now back in the midst of all yes men. But my problem is that the communications director and the people who are running the White House along with President Trump sat there and said to him, Mr. President, we've got maybe the most impressive 100 first days of any presidency. And we have the ability to go on any station we want. We could go on any program we want. Anybody and everybody will sit down with us. Let's do ABC News. What the hell was that? Why are you going to take a guy that you don't even know who he is and let him sit down in this milestone landmark event? Now, there will be some people that say, well, this was Trump's way of trying to showcase how corrupt the media is. We don't need that anymore. We know that. That's like trying to sell me on the fact that the planet is round. We don't need that. What we need is for people all across America to get a message that isn't in the midst of a freaking battle on television. We need Trump to sit down with somebody who's going to be fair and say to him, President Trump, let's talk about the things that you've done. Let's talk about the things that you haven't done. And let's have a conversation about it as if both of us care about the future of the country, not as if one of us, meaning me, the reporter, wants to try to stump you so this way I could get my week of fame where everybody tells me I'm the best reporter and I ask the tough questions. There were plenty of people that could have done it. I'll tell you what would have been my choice. I would have picked in Tucker Carlson. I would have said, had Tucker Carlson come in, because you know he's going to get all of X. He's going to be all over. He's arguably the biggest name in conservative media. Or I would have gone back and I would have said, Joe Rogan, come on to the White House. You can interview me. Joe Rogan would have gone. And in Joe Rogan, you don't get a conservative. You get basically a guy who's an independent who is going to ask questions based on what he feels is right and wrong as an American, not versus what the ideology of a liberal is or what it is that the conservatives want to get just some good feeling food, so to say. But he didn't do that. And this is one of the places where Trump always makes mistakes. He always makes mistakes when it comes to choosing who it is and who it isn't that he sits down with and gives interviews to. And I wish this would improve, because what we need is a narrative spreading throughout this country that Trump is doing great. Yes, there are a few things, and we're going to talk about in a second. There are a few things that he could do better. But ultimately, we just had one of the most impressive 100 days of all time. And what happens? ABC News tries to sell that this is a dire, horrible storyline. We have another clip. I'm not sure which one it is. Why don't we just do potluck and we'll see which one? Do you know which one it is?
Biden incompetent?
Biden incompetency. All right, play it.
Do you think the reputation of the United States has gone down under your presidency?
No, I think it's gone way up, and I think we're a respected country again. We were laughed at all over the world. We had a president that couldn't walk up a flight of stairs, couldn't walk down a flight of stairs, couldn't walk across a stage without falling. We had a president that was grossly incompetent. You knew it, I knew it, and everybody knew it, but you guys didn't want to write it because you're fake news.
All right. Thank you.
And by the way, ABC is one of the worst. I have to be honest with you.
Thank you.
Now, see, I understand part of the philosophy is that, look, we're going to air this on ABC News and we're going to battle ABC News. But here's the part that I don't think Trump ever really truly understands. The people who are watching ABC News, by and large, are watching ABC News and they already dislike Trump. So Trump's job is not to make them hate him more. Trump's job is to try to convey some of those people at least into the middle. Because these are the people, believe it or not, that will change parties or at least change votes if indeed they see that their life is personally better because Trump is in office. And so I hate it when we see these interviews where the time is spent on fighting over fake news, what's real and what's not real. That is, to me, a missed opportunity. Let's play another clip here because we already know that Joe Biden is incompetent. And yes, we already know that nobody reported on it except for people like, the DML Report and the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast. We've been saying it since the beginning of time. Nobody would have voted for Joe Biden. He was in the basement. He was incompetent. He wasn't saying clear sentences. Nobody else was reporting on it. And then later on, when it became really evident during the debate, everybody jumped on board. What's our next video? Revenge. All right. So is Donald Trump playing revenge in his presidency, or is he really trying to do the best he can? Go.
Are you using your powers as president to get personal revenge?
No, I'll tell you what. You're really not asking, and you should be asking. There has never been a president in this country, in the history, that was persecuted like I was persecuted by really crooked people, dishonest, horrible people, and it's been proven. So when you say I'm treating people rough, I'm not treating people rough. I was treated worse than any president in the history of our country. And, you know, people figured, well, maybe that's it. Finally, we got, you know, he's leaving town. There goes the helicopter. And then I came back. And I came back because I have tremendous support. You know, when you win an election like I won it, and you will admit I won all 7 swing states, I won the popular vote, I won 2,750 districts compared to 500 districts. That's why the map is all red. And those people feel that I was treated unfairly.
Again, you know, I understand, you know, when President Trump wants to be a great communicator, he really is. I mean, he could get people fired up. He could get them excited. He doesn't take any crap from anybody. But at the same time is one of the things he falls into the trap of. And again, if I was his communications director, I would try to fight this back against him all the time. I don't know. Maybe people do try to fight back on him against this and say, Mr. President, you got to change the message a little bit. But unfortunately, unless Trump is in a courtroom, sometimes it's really hard to get through to him. I imagine somebody is trying to convince him to do what I'm about to say. We got to stop looking at the past. We know he won the swing states. We know he won the popular vote. We know he won. That's why he's sitting in the White House. What we need more of, and what we need him to pound over and over and over again, are his successes. About, you know, when somebody says to him, "Is this a revenge tour?" Just say, "Yeah, you know what? You know what the revenge is? I am fighting back against the establishment who tries to destroy this country." So if that's what you call revenge, sure, revenge is making success of all the things that need to be successful in order for America to be the best country in the world. Joe Biden, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, all these different liberals, they've all tried to destroy America. So if you want to Make America Great Again a revenge tour, you could call it whatever you want. If revenge at the end of the day is me securing the borders, getting rid of inflation, lowering costs for healthcare, and just going down the list, if that's a revenge tour, if that's what you want to call it, call what you want. Give me a capital R. But I'm fighting for America, and that's what we're doing going forward. That's the message people need to hear. And so I understand Trump gets into these battles. He didn't have to get into this battle. He invited ABC News in. And so, you know, just clearly a mistake, because what we're trying to do, I hate to talk about this because it's only 100 days in, but we are fighting already for midterms. It is going to start to be really, really clear that the Democrats are out for blood in the midterms. And if they win the House, you can guarantee one word is going to be on the headlines of every single last paper, and it's called impeachment. And so Trump should be thinking that way. And I don't know if he is. We have another clip. The auto pen. Yeah, here you go. Play this one.
Biden did something to me, and I did something to Biden. And you know why I did it? Because he's grossly incompetent. That's not a man that should be allowed to, you know, be looking at things that are very confidential.
But what about,
because he didn't?
71
Here's a
people
man that used an auto pen to sign very important documents. Now, who really is? Do you think he knew that they were using an auto pen? I mean, he used an auto pen to sign very, very important documents. And so those are really the questions you should be asking. What do you think of the auto pen? Who wielded the auto pen? Because whoever that person was, think of it, whoever the person that wielded the auto pen, he was really the president of the United States. Because I don't think that Biden knew anything about it.
Now, that's the kind of stuff I do like Trump talking about when he's going to go backward. If you're going to go backward and you're going to talk about Joe Biden, let's talk about things that most people don't even know about. The auto pen was something that was just discovered going back a few weeks ago, and it was blown over. And the reason why it got blown over is because we were talking about so many different things in the first 100 days: the border, Russia, Ukraine, Doge going in and finding all of the corruption. Well, one of the things they found out about was the auto pen. How it was that Joe Biden was signing some major documents with auto pen feature. Was it he, Biden, who was signing these documents? Or was it indeed somebody else on his behalf? Did Biden even know what was going on in this country? I don't think he did. I think his presidency was a hodgepodge of liberal wackos running the White House on his behalf. And that's something that Trump has to shine over and over and over again. So I like that clip. I like that because it makes people say, auto pen, what's an auto pen? And maybe people will start to look it up. People will start to see what's going on with this auto pen. And maybe it puts more questions in the mind, especially of the independent voters, the people who are a little left of center. Maybe they say, you know what? The Democrat Party is really a loss. And I'm switching over. Let me give you something here that was just put out. This is new polling from the Harvard Kennedy School's Institute of Politics shows that congressional Democrats' approval among young Americans is falling sharply. It was 42% approval in 2017, but now today, youngsters just have a 23% approval of Democrats. Trump's approval among 18 to 29-year-olds stands at 31%, which is sort of unchanged from the start of his first term. Ryan, let me ask you this. You've got a platter of friends. Do you have any friends at this point who will sit there and champion for Democrat and Democrat policies?
Me personally, in my own inner circle, no. I don't have anyone that champions for the Democrat side. If anything, I've had friends that growing up in high school were Democrats, and over time they have become conservatives.
Yeah. Now, I mean, when you're talking to your friends, I mean, you're in your mid-20s, and they speak about Trump, how do they speak about him?
Not like very detailed.
Yeah.
I mean, might have like one or two friends that like can speak like, on topics as we can, but I have a lot of friends that kind of just broad stroke it as, he's a better option for everything US of A than, say, the Democrats.
Mm-hmm. See, now, when you talk to your friends, because I think this is another important part, when you talk to your friends about the status of America, what is their biggest concern right now?
Financial, probably.
Financial.
They all think it's going to shit.
They think, yeah, they're scared about it. That's where Trump has to focus. He has to focus on this. If he can focus on the economy, I talk about it every single day. If he could focus on the economy and he could start putting money back in people's pockets, especially young people, he could convert them over. He could convert them over to conservative or at least Republican-leaning voting. And that's what I would have liked to seen out of an ABC interview in that case. Do we have any other clips? What's the next clip?
Doge go too far, too fast, too reckless.
No, I think Doge has been, saved $150 billion. We saved, that's a lot of money. There's also a lot of things right now under investigation, which is going to increase that amount by a lot. That's a tremendous amount of money. There are some things where, when I heard about them, I put them back, as you know. There are things that I'm considering right now putting back, but overall we've saved hundreds of billions of dollars.
Well, the original promise was $2 trillion, went to $1 trillion, now to $150 billion, and heading south.
You don't know what it's going to be because we have things that are at a very high level that are being looked at right now. We also found tremendous waste, fraud, and abuse, as you know. We found a lot of fraud. There was a lot of fraud. Fraudulent things were taking place, and we ended that, and those people are going to be suffering because of it.
So, I commented yesterday. So, for those of you who sign up for the 47 report, it is a morning newsletter, 7 days a week. And then Monday to Friday in the afternoons, I send out the DML report. The 47 report is sort of I'll use the word platter again. It's sort of like a big, huge cheese platter. It's got all these different types of flavors. And it's all positive stuff about Trump, his administration, the people who are supporting him, Congress, what we're trying to do to make America great again. And then, of course, it's got the resistance. And the resistance showcases The part of that part of the newsletter showcases what it is that the left and the courts and everybody else is trying to do to stop Trump. Then in the afternoon, what I do is I take one issue that's happened during the day and I write about it, and I usually give a lot of stats and figures and stuff of that nature. Yesterday, my DML, and by the way, if you sign up for 47 Report at 47report.com, by default, you also get the DML report. Yesterday, I did I guess you would say an op-ed, to which I laid out a grading system for Trump. And I thought it'd be interesting to just kind of go through it quickly. I put the great stuff that Trump has done. The border security, I've never seen anything like it in my lifetime, and I've been covering this topic more than anybody else has over the past 20 years. The other thing that nobody ever talks about, which I think is very significant, and it's a big, huge part of the success and why things are going good right now for the Trump team, is because if you remember in Trump's first presidency, it was always drama. It was turmoil from inside the White House. And, in his first term, it was Twitter tirades where he was ripping into his own administration. He never does that anymore. He completely 100% stands behind and supports everybody in his administration, including Elon Musk. Now, when you have a team and you're showing great leadership and you're standing behind your team, even if it's somebody like the Borders are, Tom Homan, who sometimes will come off on television as being somebody who doesn't give a rat's ass about, I don't care about your feelings. I don't care if you're illegal. I don't care if you got a kid. You're going home. I mean, he's a tough guy. He's abrasive. I love his level of abrasiveness, but it doesn't always warm over everybody. Trump doesn't apologize for him. Pete Hegseth, another guy, has made some mistakes, but the mainstream media makes it sounds like, you'd swear Pete Hegseth is the one who released COVID onto the United States of America. What happens with that? Trump sticks behind him 100%. That is a leader. And that is one of the greatest things about this presidency so far. The other thing that I like is that he's sticking to his plan despite the media pushback. The media is trying to push back on everything Trump does, and he seems to be focused and confident in what his plan is. I'll give you a perfect example. The tariffs. The media was trying to get him to stop these tariffs, and Trump says, no, we're going forward with them. Now, he played around with them a little bit, and I'll get to that in a second. But Trump has said, I'm sticking to course. He's not swaying in the wind. A lot of times in his first term, I felt, especially in the beginning, when he was trying to get his feet sort of set in a channel that he could follow, and he kind of bounced around and danced around like he was on hot coals a bit. But not this time. He's sticking to plan. Now, in terms of mediocre, where I think it is that he's done an okay job, could have been better. Doge, and that's why I brought this up, Doge is one of those things. I will agree, believe it or not, with the man on ABC News that said that they moved very, very fast, Doge. They moved so fast that along the way, they kind of broke things. And sometimes the numbers were a little bit erratic. Sometimes the moves were contradictory to themselves. We loved it for the most part because it was exposing fraud, corruption, misplacement of funds, ineptness, incompetence, you name it. We found the broken systems, 150-year-old people on the Social Security rolls, you name it. The problem is, instead of going at it like a surgical sort of pianist, if you want, where it's just going nice and it was like nice, smooth music, instead we went in like a bulldozer. And I think had we not gone in like a bulldozer and we just would have went in like a surgeon with the most steady of hands, we could have just focused in on one department and ripped it to shreds for weeks where there was no argument by anybody, and the courts would have a real hard time of saying you have to reverse what you did because you did it too quick and you didn't, and you missed this one dot or you missed this one cross of a T. That's what wound up happening because we went in so fast and furious. There were mistakes along the way. Had we done it slower and more surgical, we would have had a better result. But it was still fantastic how much we wound up finding through Doge, right? So one of those mediocre things. The tariffs, I go back to that. I am a huge, huge supporter of the tariffs. The one thing, though, is that sometimes in delivering these tariffs, it has been, we're going to do this, and then we're going to do that. We're going to tariff here. No, we're going to tariff there. We're going to have it at this rate. No, we're going to change it to that rate. All right, we're going to delay it a little bit. So what winds up happening is that you create a level of uncertainty. And so the stock market drops that we've seen, or the CEOs or the so-called experts who voice their displeasure with this, or the American citizens who get very uneasy with this because they watch their 401k drop, it's not the tariff itself that scares them. It's not the tariff that is causing the drop. It is the uncertainty around the tariffs. And if there's one thing that the economy likes, if there's one thing that frickin' the stock market demands, it is that there is certainty. There's a level of calmness. There's stability. When you start racking comments up and down, well, uncertainty, nobody wants to stay in a market that has uncertainty to it. So that's one of the things that has definitely hurt Trump, but at the same time is the tariffs, I think, are brilliant. The other part that I've said over the last couple of days, and the good news is now we're day 101, we don't have to go over this again starting tomorrow, but I think that Trump has forgotten the promise he made about the media. Here he is last night on ABC News. When the Trump administration took over the White House, they vowed, and I mean they vowed, to give alternative media the voice, that we were going to make the podcasters, we were going to make the alternative media the way of the future. And that sort of just forgot about itself. And I've said this for the last couple of days on the show, and then last night's interview supplies me with all the ammunition I needed, all the proof of the pudding. I got my receipt. There you go. There's last night. We should be propping up podcasts, big and small. We should be propping up every single last conservative news outlet. So this way, the other part of the story is told. I mean, I'll give you an example. I've talked to many different guys who are in this business, and none of them have gotten a phone call to say, hey, why don't you come into the White House? Or, hey, we'd like to put President Trump or somebody of the administration on your show. None of that. And, when you've got shows that reach tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people, that is where the Trump administration and President Trump and J.D. Vance should be spending all of their times. These clips that are going around right now with ABC News, all they do is infuriate everybody. They piss off the left because they say Trump sucks. See, this reporter got him. He sucks. I know he sucks. And then he pisses off the right because all we sit there is and say, why doesn't this reporter really tell the truth? Nobody's happy. Nobody's getting anything positive out of it. We've got to change. We've got to flip that attitude. And that's something that I am hopeful that he's going to be able to do. Speaking about hope, I think Trump has to do a better job at unifying the GOP. We're still a splintered party. We can't be splintered. We have to unify, and Trump needs to hold everybody accountable. Rand Paul, I said this yesterday with Denny, if you don't get aligned with us, we are going to make sure that you are primaried and that you lose your next election. You're done. You're never coming back to the White House again. The economy. I mean, today we got some really bad numbers out. Today it shows that the first quarter, the U.S. economy shrank in the first quarter. It had a lower GDP. Stock market's taken a bang today as a result. We've got to put more effort into the economy. We've got to put more effort into things that are happening here at home versus Vladimir Putin and Zelensky. The deportations, again, kind of good at best, but I'm hopeful it'll get better. The one thing I want to see President Trump do, mandatory E-Verify. The fact that there hasn't been an executive order put on his desk for that, to help these people self-deport out of here, to kill their jobs, I don't know why that hasn't been done yet. It needs to be done. People will self-deport. But I think everybody in the country is a little disappointed in the fact that we're not seeing more mass raids and more mass deportations. I understand the courts are getting in the way, but at the end of the day, President Trump and his team, they should have been prepared for these courts. They need to prepare for these courts going forward. They need to be more creative. When there is a will, there is a way. And if there's somebody who can find that will, it's got to be Trump. Pam Bondi, she needs to get on the ball here and find the ways to which this government can get rid of the people who are here and get rid of them quick. Not good. I don't think Trump has done a great job with Russia and Ukraine. I think he still is dealing with Putin. Do we have anything on Ukraine with ABC News? Let's play the video out of ABC News.
does feel like something's happening after that meeting with Zelensky in St. Peter's. You posted this on social media. There was no reason for Putin to be shooting missiles into civilian areas in cities and towns over the last few days. It makes me think that maybe...
Well, that was part of my post, but you're right. That was a part of a post.
And it says, it makes me think that maybe he doesn't want to stop the war. He's just tapping me along.
Yeah, that's possible. Sure.
He might be...
He could be tapping me along a little bit. I would say that he would like to stop the war. I think that if it weren't for me, I think he'd want to take over the whole country, personally. I always felt. So when I left, there wasn't even a chance that this would happen. When Biden got involved, I won't say whether or not he handled it properly, but obviously it wasn't good because the war started. Putin went in, the war started. I believe that Putin wanted to get all of Ukraine once he went in. And I think part of the reason he went in, he saw what happened in Afghanistan, how incompetently Milley and all these guys handled that. It was one of the greatest embarrassments of our lifetimes, but maybe in the history of our country. Okay. So Putin went in. I think Putin wanted all of Ukraine. Right. I think if I didn't win the election, he would have gotten all of Ukraine. I think he would have taken all of Ukraine. I think his first choice... Never with me. He would have never gone in. With this group of losers, he went in. He saw what happened in Afghanistan. He said, wow, this is my chance. Because it was always the apple of his eye. I talked to him. Ukraine was the apple of his eye. I think he wanted the whole country.
You've said for months...
because of me, I do believe that he's willing to stop the fighting. Don't forget...
Think he wants peace? You think Vladimir Putin wants peace?
I think he does, yes. I think he does. I think
even with the raining missiles,
I think he really his dream was to take over the whole country. I think because of me, he's not going to do that.
So this is one area where I disagree with Trump wholeheartedly. I think what Trump is trying to do is he's trying to play the middleman between Zelensky and Putin. And that is a no-win situation. I think Trump is going to come to terms with that sooner or later, hopefully sooner than later. I would have taken a different approach from the get-go. The reason being is because Putin is not going to bend and Zelensky can't bend. Zelensky cannot say, okay, take over half my country. That is a total loss for him. So you've got to try to make this to where both parties feel as if they won, and you're just not going to do that with guys who have super egos like the two of them. The difference between their egos and Trump's ego is that Trump has a level of reasonable thought. He has the ability to process through reason and common sense. Zelensky does not. He is way over his head. He is a failed comedian actor who turned politician. He is way over his head. He does not have the education in politics to be able to survive. Putin, just the opposite, understands politics, but he also understands corruption. And he's not going to give up or stop until he's forced to do so. Trump's trying to make this as being, hey, guys, let's shake hands. You know, we don't need to fight anymore. It's like he's going to two brothers and telling them, come on, you really do love each other. You're neighbors. Come on. It's not going to work. The only way that this works and the way that I would have done it from the beginning is a very, very harsh, tough love where you take your two sons. And I've done this with Denny before. I've taken Denny in one hand and I've taken Ryan in the other hand. And I say, okay, here's the deal. I gave you guys a chance to make up. Now here's the problem. You're not making up. You're making everybody's life in this house miserable. That's not going to work. Either you make up now or the fight between the two of you is going to be nothing because now you're going to fight me. So what do you want? You want to be buddies and you want to kiss and make up, or do you want to fight me? Because your troubles are going to get tenfold. And that's how it is that you get Ryan and Denny to shake hands, and everybody around the house is like, thank God Dad stepped in and took care of this the way it has to be taken care of. You can try diplomacy for a little bit, but when it fails and you keep on trying it over and over again, that's insanity. So I think we realize at this point that if we keep on trying to play this nice middleman and bring everybody together, it's going to be a disaster. I've said this for the last 3 days. I'm going to say it again today. Hopefully I don't have to say it again tomorrow. The only way to get this war to stop is if Trump calls up the EU and says, I am not participating another day. Ukraine is yours. All problems with Ukraine, everything. And oh, by the way, Ukraine is part of the EU. You're all part of Europe. You guys owe me the money for all the equipment I sent over, and I'm going to collect it one way or another. So you could pay me now or you could pay me later with incredible interest. Then I pick up the phone and I call Xi Jinping. I ask him, what are you having for tonight? What is it? Is it cream of some young guy? Or are you going to have, what are you having? You having Chinese meatballs? Do they even make Chinese meatballs? And then after I wound up saying that cat food is really what Chinese food is, I then tell Xi Jinping straight out, get Vladimir Putin in line. You're the only one who has him on the strings. Get him in line. He's your neighbor. He needs you. If you don't get him in line and this doesn't end, then I am telling you that China has themselves a bigger problem with me than just tariffs. We're going to sanction the hell out of everybody. Nobody else in this world is going to do any business with any of you. If they do, they are on the bad side of the United States of America. Solve this. Get it over. That's it. Pull out. You don't need any more land, Vladimir Putin. All right? That's it. And then I walk away. And I tell them, if you keep this crap up and it interferes with anything to the betterment or stops the betterment of the United States of America, meaning if we lose money, if we lose lives, if we lose the ability to sleep at night because we think that you're going to send a missile out, we're going to take you out. You're going to wind up fighting the strongest guy in the frickin' bar. Is that what you really want? Because you're going to come across with a broken back and you're going to be lucky if you ever walk again. That's the only way this wins. That's the only language that Vladimir Putin understands. Same thing with Xi Jinping. Until that kind of thing happens, this is a disaster. Next, what I don't like about this administration at all is that we were promised the Epstein files. And we didn't get the Epstein files. And we need them. We were told that we were going to get the JFK assassination files, and it was a whole lot of nothing. We got nothing out of it. We need to see the Epstein files, or else there's going to be a lot of credibility lost with this administration. And then the other part that I think has been a epic, epic fail, if you were to line up every single last American citizen and just condense them, just get a little bit of a smorgasbord, if you will, of everybody, and you were to say to them, what is the largest cost and the biggest concern you have on a monthly basis? You'd get some people to say the price of food. You'd get other people to say my mortgage is too high. I need interest rates to go down. The majority of people would say health insurance and health care. Either A, I have no health insurance because it's too costly. B, I have health insurance, but it's too costly. It's drowning me. Companies would say it's almost impossible for us to hire more people because the cost of health insurance for our group is too high. And then people would complain about, I'm not getting anything. The waits are long to get an MRI, a CT. Unless I go into the emergency room, I can't get an appointment. This is ridiculous. And so nothing's being done about the biggest problem we have in the country when it comes to costs. And I can't understand why. If I were the president of the United States, it would have been illegal immigration and healthcare, 1 and 2. Those would have been the two biggest things I would do to turn this country around. You've got to take away the pain from the American citizen. And that pain is it's costing too much money to live. With that said, we were promised, at least in verbiage, that we were all going to receive like a $5,000 check from all the money that Doge saved. If Donald Trump and this administration want to get on the good side of all Americans, send everybody a $5,000 check. Figure out a way to do it. Send everybody a check. Make everybody be happy again. Get that money back into the economy. Get people to feel like they got a little bit of breathing room. Thank you, Mr. Trump. That's what I would do. Ryan, do we have any more clips on this? What do we got? Go to tariffs right now.
Don't your tariffs cut against that promise you made to bring prices down?
No, because I had massive tariffs on China, if you remember, in my first term, and we had essentially no inflation, like around 1% inflation, which is like a perfect number. And then when Biden took over, it went through the roof. It went to probably the worst inflation we've ever had. I mean, we had an inflation nightmare. Now, if you look at what's happening now, we're only there for 100 days, as you say, and in 100 days, we took over. We had bad inflation for 4 years, for 2 years of, especially 2 years of his administration. I would say record-setting like we've never seen. They say 48 years, the worst in 48 years. I say it was much worse than that.
Yeah.
Right. So now if you look at what's happened, energy is down. Gasoline hit $1.98 in a few states during the last couple of days. It was $3.50 and $4 and $4.50. But gasoline is way down. When I took over, you remember the big thing with eggs. They hit me the first week. Eggs, like it was my fault. I said, I didn't cause this problem. This problem was caused by Biden. What's the problem with eggs? And they said, they've doubled. And well, eggs are down 87% since I got involved.
A lot of that is
and by
bird
the way,
flu,
and there were plenty of eggs for Easter, which we just went through. There were plenty of eggs for Easter. They were saying you won't have enough eggs for Easter. My secretary did a fantastic job on eggs. Groceries are down. Everything's down. Okay. Interest rates are the same. Interest rates should be down, but we have a Federal Reserve that wants to be stubborn. They want to be cute.
We'll get to that.
So yes, there are things that are definitely down. The problem we have here in the United States of America is that we have been trained, wrongfully so, that everything happens in a nanosecond. You go to Starbucks, you go to McDonald's, you go through the drive-thru. If you don't have your beverage or your food within 10 minutes or less, there's something wrong. The system's broken. People start screaming. It's not the way the economy works. In order for Trump to really be able to get this economy swinging in the way that he needs it to swing, I've said it from the beginning of the year. It's going to take until August. These tariffs are a good thing. When manufacturing comes back to the United States, when people like Apple, places like Apple, say that they're going to bring back manufacturing and invest $500 billion in facilities here, especially in the state of Texas, that's what we will see as being a gold rush. It takes a little bit of time. I'd like the president to spend more time on delivering that message, especially to this youngster crowd, the up-and-coming people who have been indoctrinated in schools and colleges to think that conservatism means communism, to think that conservative values means tyranny. It's not the case. Conservative values is what it is that this country was built on. Conservative values is what makes the engines hum. If you want to have money, if you want to be secure, you don't want to listen to a Democrat. A Democrat is going to train you how to be reliant on the system, to be reliant on the government. We, as conservatives, believe in individualism. We believe in freedom. We believe in building your own dream and having the government stay out of your way in doing that. And so if Trump would be able to lay out his plan a little better than he has already, or maybe even a lot better, so people could understand it a little bit more, which you would get if you would start working with the alternative and right side media more than you are with the left media, because they're never going to give you a pass. You go to the New York Times today, based on the GDP coming down in the first quarter, they're making it sound as if the entire economy is going to blow itself up. Trust me when I tell you, eventually, within months ahead, you are going to see the uptick in the markets. You're going to see the uptick in the job market. You're going to see the uptick in raises, and we are going to see inflation come down. And sooner or later, what's going to happen is that the interest rates are also going to drop. It's going to put more money in your pocket. Now, I want to go to immigration because this has been Trump's best accomplishment. I've never seen anything like it in my day. Here's a clip from ABC News last night as we start to wind down the show about immigration.
All I can say is this: if you're going to have 21 million people, and if we have to get a lot of them out because they're criminals, we're going to have to act fast. We can't. Do you think we can give 21 million trials? Let's say each trial takes 2 weeks. Is that what you want us to do?
The law
give
is the law, sir. The law is the law, and you're
the law doesn't say anything about trials.
No, not trials. Hearings. I said
These
hearings.
people came in. They're not citizens. They came in illegally. They came into our country illegally.
And
we have to get them out.
There's a legal process for that.
I can't. Sure, and we follow the legal process. I can't have a trial, a major trial for every person that came in illegally. We have thousands of murderers that came in They're going to murder people. They already have murdered people in our country.
Right, so
we have to get them out,
they're
and we have to
bad
get them
guys,
out fast.
really bad guys. But in our country, even bad guys get due process, right?
If people come into our country illegally, there's a different standard. These are illegal. They came in illegally.
But they get due process.
Well, they get a process where we have to get them out. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to comment on the most important parts of that clip, but we're going to play a second clip about immigration. So this way we could wrap it all together in one. Are you ready with the second clip, Ryan? Play it.
What's the one thing, just one thing, that you think is the most significant thing you've done so far in these 100 days?
Well, I think maybe the border is the most significant because our country was really going bad. They were allowing people to come in from prisons, as you know, and you've heard me say it, but you've heard a lot of people say it. Prisons, mental institutions, gang members, murderers. We had many murderers, 11,888, they think. Some murdered more than one person. So you had murderers coming in, you had everybody coming in, and not just South America, from all over the world. They were emptying their prisons into our country. And now it's totally closed down. And you've seen just yesterday, they announced 99.9%. Nobody thought that could happen. And it happened quickly, very quickly. And I think that's very significant. But we're doing other things that are very significant. Results will take a little bit longer because it's one of those, you know, it's complicated. It's many years of trading abuse. We've been abused by other countries for years and years. They laughed at us. They thought we were stupid people, and we're fixing it. And I think that's going to be very, very important. But I
have a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah, I would really say that the border is so important.
Here's my take. It's my opinion. I mean, you may be able to find 100 lawyers and 100 judges who are going to disagree with me. But in the same way that the 14th Amendment is misinterpreted, the 14th Amendment was not designed so this way Lolita could come in from Mexico or Central America or wherever, cross the border, outrun the Border Patrol, take a squat, pop out a baby, and oh, there's a 14th Amendment child. That was not, I mean, think about the founding fathers sitting down. Can you imagine one of them? You know, I envision a day when people around the world want to come to the United States of America, and one of the greatest ways to get all free stuff is if they just have a baby over the border. We should put that into action. Not at all. The 14th Amendment was a design so this way the slaves and their children would not be punished without having citizenship. So this way it was designed for the slaves' children, the children of slaves, not for illegal aliens who break our laws. When your first action in the United States is that of a lawbreaker, why we have this due process, if you will, to where each one of these people is supposed to wind up getting their hearing is ridiculous. It is a way of breaking the system. It is a way of, I mean, it is impossible. It is like trying to boil the ocean. You can't do it. And there's only one way to ensure the safety of the United States of America. Not this, I'm going to put you in front of a judge who's going to wind up giving you leniency. You're here illegally. You came into my country illegally. You must go. Remember something, and this is very, very important. If you are somebody in Mexico and you cross over into the United States of America, you do not have to go through a deportation process. You are just turned back. We should be doing that with every single person. Anybody who crosses our border illegally just gets turned back. You do not get a court hearing. That is absolutely absurd. What Trump is doing is right. My feeling is deport them all. There's no way that the courts are ever going to be able to get in your way. Deport them all. Get rid of the 20, 30 million people that are here. Just start the flights, start the raids. Nobody's going to be able to stop you. And let them take it to court. And even if they win the court battle, we win the war because all the people have been deported and there's nothing they could do about it. And it's that simple. It is that freaking simple. Now, yes, that is Trump's greatest victory to today is the battle at the border. Imagine if he didn't have the resistance that he has, all the other different things that could be great or on their way to being great. And I give Trump so far for his first 100 days, I give him an A-. Ryan, I'm going to let you give your grade here before we bid people adieu and tell them who it is that we are going to be playing for next week. I picked it out while we were playing the videos.
Oh, you did?
Yep.
Did you send it to my email?
Not yet.
Oh. Sorry, it's hard to hear. So
All right, what's the grade you give Trump first?
I kind of like the A- grade.
You like the A-?
Yeah.
grade?
I do like the A- grade.
Yeah, because it gives the respect of the hard work that he's been doing. And at the same time, it says, hey, man, you're not perfect. There's a lot of room for improvement.
Yeah, it's only been 100 days, and he's got, 1,000 more. So I'm very
1,300 more.
Yeah, 1,300 more. So I'm very confident.
Yeah, I am too.
I think we're gonna see definitely a boom. He's just got to get past these judges and all that, and he'll figure it out.
He will. He'll figure it
Trump.
out. Yeah, eventually. See, these tactics by the left are all designed for delay. They just want delay. They want the midterms to come because if we lose one of the chambers, he becomes a flat-footed, lame duck president. He can't get anything done. So that is the process that they're hoping will take to place. Delay, 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 delay. Trump has to recognize this. His team needs to recognize this. And he's got to break some eggs in order to make the omelet. That's the way I say it. Now, we started off with the golf. We're going to end with the golf. Next week, for a free bottle of Miracle Me Mini, Eddie Larson has asked that you, Ryan, play for him. And I am going with Lucy Vincent. So Lucy Vincent wants me to play for her, and Eddie Larson wants you to play for him. Would you like to apologize to Eddie a week in advance for losing?
I'll tell Eddie. I'll try my best.
All right. Sometimes your best just isn't good enough. All right. Few little things here. Don't forget DML CBD. Buy one, get one free. Today is the last day. Won't have another one until the end of July, maybe the beginning of August. We'll see what happens with that, but it's going to be a long time. Go to DMLCBD.com. Anything you want, it's a buy one, get one free. You buy one, you get two. You get three, you're going to get 6. You get 12, you're going to get 24. It's the greatest thing in the world. You're going to get the Ferrari of CBD products at Kia prices. I should make a bumper sticker with that, right? Yeah. I don't think anybody's going to put it on a Ferrari, though. You don't put a bumper sticker on a Ferrari, right? All right. Anyway, that's it for us. Go to 47 Report. Make sure you sign up for the newsletter. If you don't, you're not a smart person. No other way for me to say it to you. And that is that. So, again, congratulations to Shirley Blanchard for winning her free bottle, because I may have thrown the whole just to make it a little bit more interesting. We shall see what you could do next week. Until the next time, which should be tomorrow, right? We don't have a show on Friday, but we do have a show tomorrow. Until the next time, may God bless you, your family, our president, our vice president, and all of your family, and of course my son's friend, my friend's son, who was just diagnosed with cancer. We're going to be praying for him. That's it. We'll talk to you soon.
Get the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast every day by subscribing on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and download the DML News app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store for breaking news, merchandise, films, exclusive content, and Team DML.